episode 7 of the Silver Screen Scarehouse with Lisa and Linnie. I'm your host, Linnie, and with me, of course, is my luminous co-host, Lisa.
Hello.
When you come to the Scarehouse, we'll be reviewing 3 movies. We may not always agree, but as lifelong film fanatics, you'll get honest opinions from 2 different sides of the aisle, followed by an old-fashioned knives up, knives down final rating. See? All right. This week, Lisa and I will be chatting about Ex Machina, which is currently playing in theaters nationwide, as well as Preservation and Lookalike, both of which are available on Netflix and various other VOD platforms. First up in the Scarehouse this week is Ex Machina. In Alex Garland's tale of technology run wild, young programmer Caleb is brought to the estate of reclusive tech genius Nathan to act as the human component in a Turing test, interacting with artificial intelligence to determine whether or not the AI can pass for human. But when Caleb meets the robotic Ava, it quickly becomes clear that both Nathan and Ava have their own hidden agendas. So Lisa, what did you think about Ex Machina?
Well, in case people don't know, I don't like science fiction unless Tom Cruise is in it. However, I knew that this was going to be the kind of film that I was going to need to have an opinion on, so I reluctantly went to see this movie. And I am very humbled by how much I loved it, and the more I think about it, the more in love I am with this movie.
That's awesome.
And I think, honestly, the best thing for me was not knowing anything about it. I just knew it was science fiction, and clearly there was a robot, and I thought, whatever, and then and I think I might have been a bit of a petulant child at the beginning, because, it starts out kind of slow, and you're like, what are they setting up? And then it's the most gorgeous, amazing, beautiful thing I've seen in a long, long time, and the story is so layered.
Right.
There's a lot of questions are brought up, and Oscar Isaac, where have you been my whole life?
In sci-fi movies. See, this is what you miss.
Oh my goodness gracious, that guy dance with me anytime.
He is brilliant. I've been a huge fan of his since Sucker Punch, which is a movie I despised, but he kind of kept me grounded in the film. And then he was in The Bourne Legacy. Very small role, but he was also in Drive, and he's going to be in Star Wars. So he's really making his moves now, and I'm very happy about that. Yeah, I expected that I would like this movie, and I liked it more than I thought I would. It was just, like you said, it was beautifully filmed, and Alex Garland is fantastic with his eye for detail. I'm not positive who was the cinematographer on this film, but it was gorgeously shot, and it's so claustrophobic. Even though they're out in this gorgeous expanse of nature, and this house is so open and beautiful, it feels so closed off. And I don't think I've been this stressed out in a movie in a very long time. Like, when I got out of it, my hands were shaking, and I have not had that reaction in some time to a film. So that was unexpected.
It builds the suspense really perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you said, it's so layered with what it's trying to say. I jokingly said when I got out that I was giving everybody the side eye because I assumed they were all robot monsters. But at the same time, there's this added layer of sexual politics and gender and man versus woman that was so interesting. And it had nothing to do with her being a robot either. It had to do with the games that men and women play with each other when they're getting to know each other. And I loved that layer to it as well. It was such a well-written script. And I thought it kind of got a little loose in the third act. I thought that it could have been a little tighter. And recently, Oscar Isaac and Alicia Vikander, I think that's how you say her last name, they talked about an alternate ending that they had originally considered going with, and I actually like that ending better. We're going to post something about it on the Horror Honeys for tomorrow or Sunday, but the ending is very chilling and very, I almost want to say apocalyptic. Like it's sowing those seeds for the end times. I really loved that. And it's all in the shoulders of this just gorgeous, live, ballet-looking creature. And it was just so fascinating to watch.
I loved the way he used the colors in the film.
The palette was perfect. It was so gorgeous. Especially being, like I said, set in that area with all those gorgeous greens kind of offsetting everything in the nature outside. There was it's so gorgeous, and you can't really explain that to anyone that hasn't seen it.
I think that might be the best thing. I have been hesitant to tell people too much about it because I kind of feel like it was best to not know very much.
Right.
I mean, and I also appreciate that even though all the names were biblical and he definitely was speaking on many different things, it never felt like he was preaching.
No, not at all. And that's Alex Garland has kind of done that with all his scripts. With 28 Days Later and Sunshine, there's always been that element of what have we wrought on ourselves. And I think this was kind of the latest chapter of that form of his storytelling, is what humanity is doing to itself. So I thought that was definitely an interesting element. And after today, I saw Age of Ultron as well. I kind of don't trust anyone anymore. I have had my fill of AI. I don't want to leave the house. Like, stuff's out there. It's scary. But yeah, I mean, it's just these three actors for the entire film, and that's such a heavy burden to carry, to have to spend that time together, and especially on Alicia Vikander. I hope I'm saying her last name right. I mean, you can see how much work she put into this role. Her movements are so graceful, and it's such small. She took such small steps to make this character so full of life and yet so robotic. It's just so cool.
She's amazing. Everybody is amazing. Everybody has something inherently wrong with them, but you still love them.
Right.
Especially Oscar.
Yeah, I mean he's the ultimate genius. I mean, the megalomaniacal, beautiful, brilliant, completely God-complexed out genius. And that'll be absolutely what brings us down as humans, is somebody that wants to play God. And I mean, I loved there's this great touch in the script where every time that Caleb quotes something, Nathan, I don't know if he's pretending or if he really doesn't, but he acts like he doesn't know that he's quoting other things, and he misquotes Caleb, and he twists all his words around. He's like, yeah, I'm playing God. I'm basically God. You called me God. It was like, wow.
I felt like he was always being a dick. Nathan is like that guy that is really hilarious as long as he's not focusing on you.
Right. Yeah, you don't want him paying too much attention to you for too long. It was just such a well-acted and well-directed film. It's kind of a little bit of everything. And I think even for people that aren't big on sci-fi, I think that you could easily go into this film and love it, because there's so much to it that anyone could find something to love in it.
Well, and yeah, I think that's the best point. There's so many things going on, and there's so many things that it makes you think about. That the fact that there's artificial intelligence, almost, I don't know, a side note.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's using the information technology world, the advancements of artificial intelligence. It's kind of all a great metaphor.
Yeah.
For what's going on with human relationships, all this kind of stuff right now. And it's a fascinating way that they did it. So I think we definitely both are knives up on this one.
Huge, huge, huge. Knives up. I never thought I'd love a science fiction movie like I do this.
Yeah, knives up for me too. It's definitely, while it's still in theaters, it's definitely something to be seen on the big screen as well. So go see Ex Machina in theaters now.
Now.
Lisa, you are up with our next film, Preservation.
Oh, yeah. Preservation. Written and directed by Christopher Denham. Whit, I'm assuming her full name is Whitney, her husband Mike, and Mike's brother Sean are going to go out on a hunting trip to the secluded forest preserve. But this is a horror movie, so they are not the only people who are hunting in the forest. So, Linnie.
I hated this movie.
I knew it.
Yeah, it wasn't just this movie is the reason I now have a rule that if you kill a dog in a film and it has absolutely no furtherance of the plot, I'm no longer promoting your film. Like, this is a rule I have, and I'm sticking with it because this happens early in the film, and it serves no purpose. No reason. It didn't need to be in there at all. But outside of the unnecessary dog death, this movie felt like a pastiche of 50 other movies I've already seen. Automatically, I thought of Eden Lake, which is a hoodie horror. Starring Michael Fassbender, which is probably why it's as well known as it is now. But it's almost the exact same plot, short of the hunting aspect. But it's a couple in the woods, kids in masks stalking them. Strangers, kind of the same thing, just doing things for kicks, killing people. I mean, you could pick any number of movies, and it feels like I could pick every single scene out and put it in another film. The only thing that set it apart for me, and I know this sounds really weird, is that as I was watching it, I became aware that one of the stars was the actor that starred in a video game I was playing at the same time, L.A. Noire. Seeing Aaron Staton like as a human as opposed to the character in my video game, that kept me engaged for a while. But then, of course, he's not in it very long. So, you know, as dynamic as Pablo Schreiber is as an actor, and Christopher Denham is actually the director and writer, is a really excellent actor. It's been in some of my favorite indie films. This movie did absolutely nothing for me at all.
Okay, well, I did watch Eden Lake after I finished watching this, just because you can't not think of it.
Right.
And they're really similar, but I guess to me, not in a way that it bothered me. And I enjoyed that the girl was, you know, not an annoying wit. You know, she just was like, she took care of business, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I always appreciate when the girl is the survivor and she's a badass and all that. But again, I mean, you're next. You know, we've seen this before where the girl survives and kicks ass and she's all bloody. If I'm going to see it, I want it to be something different. And I feel maybe I'm making assumptions about Christopher Denham as a writer, but with all the experience he's had in the indie world as an actor and being in the films he's been in, I feel like he probably has more at his disposal to write something better. So I think I wanted something more from him. Like, it just felt very recycled. I don't know.
I absolutely see where you're coming from, and you are correct. I think for me, it never gets old, the idea that people are awful and they will just go kill because it sounds like a fun thing to do on a Saturday. And that is up there with home invasion for me, so maybe that's why I don't get tired of these movies, because it scares me. It
is creepy. I mean, especially because it's not a spoiler. I mean, you know it within 10 minutes. They're children, essentially, young teens that are doing it. And they do go that extra mile to kind of try to humanize them, I guess. But that didn't make me feel any better about it. It just made me want to punch them more.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I think I wanted more from it. It's one of those movies that I think you kind of know going into it that whether or not you're going to like it. And I kind of had a feeling right off that I wasn't. But I don't know. Yeah, it just... I had no feels about it at all. Like, I felt numb when it was over. Like, meh.
That's awful.
Yeah, like an hour and 20 minutes. I don't feel like I wasted it necessarily, but I could have been watching something else. So, yeah. I think for me, I mean, yeah, knife down. I can't really talk about this one anymore.
That's fine, yeah. I'm knife up because I had a good time, and clearly these recycled plot lines work for me.
That's fair. That's fair. I have the recycled plot lines that I enjoy too, so I can't say anything. It's just, yeah, the woods, home invasion, needs to have that little extra dose of interesting, and this movie didn't have it for me. Just a little nudge, little push. It wasn't there.
Oh.
So finally, Lisa and I will be looking at Richard Gray's The Lookalike. In this modern attempt at a classic noir concept, a young woman's death propels a diverse cast of characters on a collision course with a violent drug lord. Can the ex-pro basketball player, the deaf, cancer-ridden beauty, the drug addicts, and the henchmen survive the drug lord's deadly plot? Lisa, I'm excited to hear what you thought of this movie.
I haven't hated a movie this much in a long time.
Tell me why.
This was I can't believe this was the longest. How long was this movie? 5 hours? Because that's what it felt like.
I will say it took me 2 days to watch, but I don't think it was because it was 5 hours long.
MG, it's an hour and 40 minutes. This movie, okay. Now, maybe this is my cinematic upbringing coming in, but if you can't write a twisty thriller, don't subject me to it, okay? I cannot fucking handle it. If you can't keep 15 different characters in the air and know what they're doing all the time, why should I know what they're doing? I don't know. Why am I being subjected to all these people who suck and have dumb problems in life, and they're trying to be really hip, and you're trying to weave these stories in and out of each other in this cool, like, throwback way, but it's not cool. It was tedious. It was boring. I didn't like anybody. I wish they had all died. I just didn't care. And it was so dumb. And then when you finally found out what the deal was with why they needed the lookalike, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me with it?
Yeah.
It's the dumbest revenge thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, they definitely snuck the revenge thing in a little too late to make it matter. It was like, when it got there, I think my reaction was more of annoyance than anything. I will admit right off, the only thing that kept me engaged was Scotty Thompson, who is a woman. She is an actress. She was in this first Star Trek movie. She plays a one-legged, deaf, cancer-ridden waitress. And I was like, meh. That's an intriguing character. I'm kind of into this. And her interactions were with Jerry O'Connell, and he's pretty to look at. So if it had just been about them, I feel like I would have actually been more into it. But yeah, then Justin Long, whose face I hate. Like, I hate his face. I want to punch it all the time. Anytime I see it. He just has a face you want to punch. He and Jillian Jacobs from Community, they play obnoxious drug addicts, and they're annoying as shit. And I think as they're the anchors of the movie, I think as the anchors, they should be a lot more likable. They're not. John Corbett is some weird henchman that has eye floaters that's always like swatting at things, and like, who comes up with that as a plot concept?
I thought maybe, okay, at first I thought he was like taking his own, doing his own product or something. And
right.
Then when it turned out that he had an eye problem, I thought, who wrote this? I'm looking this up right now.
The wife of the director.
Well, it's really... Michelle Davis Gray, what else have you written, ma'am?
That is a good question. I don't think I've looked that far into it. Yeah, it's like the seeds were there for an interesting kind of twisty noir, and then it just immediately, it's like they had the concept and then had no idea what to do with it. And yeah, it took me 2 days to watch it. I had to stop it and start again the next day because they kept, why did they keep getting ahead of myself? They kept having concurrent sex scenes. It was like every time Jerry O'Connell and Scotty Thompson had sex, Jillian Jacobs and Justin Long had to have sex.
Right. Well, I felt like that's how they were showcasing how one relationship was really positive and the other one wasn't, because we didn't get that clearly enough.
So we had to keep watching them do it.
Yeah,
Thank you for writing that out for me.
Yeah, because in case you didn't realize that the two drug addicts having sex, maybe that wasn't a great idea. So I'm going to show you that this is what like a loving couple looks like having sex.
Well, all future filmmakers, I can attest to that no one anywhere in the world wants to see Justin Long have sex. No one. It's awkward and gross. No. Bad idea. Doesn't matter who he's doing it with. Drew Barrymore, Jillian Jacobs, just don't. It's icky. That's all I kept thinking. Icky. Like, stop making me look at his naked body. I'm disgusted. It's so weird because I really did want to like it. I thought it might be because I've been in such a 90s thriller mode. I was thinking, oh, maybe this will be like a nice throwback to the 90s thriller. And it's not at all. They had no clue what they were doing.
I felt like a bunch of vignettes and somebody's bad attempt at... Remember after Pulp Fiction and everybody thought that they could pull that off?
Oh, yeah.
That's what this reminded me of.
Yeah, that's valid. It was. It was the different casts of characters and trying to thread them all together with the one plot line, but you never learned anything about the plot that threaded them together until the very end.
And by then you don't care.
Yeah, like it all hinged on you having any affection for these characters, and my lone affection for the one character was related to me liking her in the real world. It had nothing to do with the film. So... yeah, unless you're some crazy Jerry O'Connell junkie, I can't think of one valid reason for anyone to see this movie.
Well, yeah, see, and I'm not a Jerry O'Connell junkie, so I really think I hated my entire time with this. And I'd like to add that allegedly this writer might be doing the screenplay for the Audition remake.
Ugh. Oh, that's brutal.
Oh.
I don't want to think about that. Let's just hope that's a rumor. I'm going to have to look into that and just hope it's a rumor. So, all right, I'm going to give it a weird knife rating this week. It's getting like a sideways knife for me because I like Scotty Thompson and my affection for her kept me engaged through the film. And if you really like her, then by all means see this film. But otherwise, don't. So, sideways knife. Do what you will with that.
My knife is down and stabbing into everybody's face in this movie.
Please go after Justin Long first.
Everybody, even actors I like or am apathetic towards. I want to kill all of them.
That's fair. We'll have to tweet them and let them know.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? It was very hard to not tweet throughout this movie. That's how boring I found it.
Oh, I definitely tuned out quite a bit. Again, 2 days to watch it. Not gonna lie.
Well, all right then.
So, all right. Thank you, Darklings, for joining us for episode 7 of the Silver Screen Scarehouse. If you'd like to chat with us about any of the movies we reviewed today, you can find me on Twitter at LinnieLoohoo, LINNIELOOWHO, and you can find Lisa on Twitter.
I'm at LCFREMONT.
And if you have a movie you'd like us to queue up in the Scarehouse, drop us a comment below or let us know on Twitter. Stay stabby, kids. Catch you next week.